Welcome back to the Halosphere Masterclass. So today we're going to be focusing on custom integrations and how we can leverage custom integrations for AI functionality. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start off by looking at custom integrations and runbooks as a whole, and then how we can then incorporate AI functionality or connect into an AI model through a custom runbook. So if I head over to configuration, custom objects and custom integrations, you'll come across three options in this case. The difference between custom integrations and integration runbooks, the way I think of the difference between them is a custom integration is a connection to a single API that will then contain the API calls that you're making as methods. And then your integration runbook will allow you to put the methods in a flow process, so you can have an initial step where you're getting information from the Halo API, and then a second step where you are pushing data to an external API like Microsoft Graph's API in this case. So if I head over to custom integrations and click on new, we'll have a look at how we can connect to the Halo API. So in the case of our custom integration, I'll call it Halo API. You've got the option to set this to a system integration if it's one of the built-in integration options that we have, but in this case we'll leave that to none. You can then select which instances you want to enable this custom integration for. For now, I will enable it on all instances. And you can then specify what your base URL is going to be. So with the Halo API, the majority of API calls that we're making, the request URL, the resource URL that we're using is going to be your instance URL /API, and then / the endpoint you're trying to connect to. So if we're connecting to the tickets endpoint, it will be /tickets, then / assets, users, and so on. So to make it easier, what I will then do is take the URL of the instance I'm currently looking at, and then paste that in there, put down / API. You can then select your authorization. So if you want to use an API key, a bearer token, basic authentication, OAuth 2.0, or if you're signing in with a secret key. So in this case, I'm going to go with OAuth 2.0. And we can then select our grant type. So whether we're going with client credentials, password credentials, an authorization code, and so on. So in this case, I'll leave it as client credentials. To connect to the Halo API, there is some more information on, if I duplicate this tab and head at the end of my URL, if I put down /API doc, we've got our API documentation where you can find more information on authentication and authorization to the Halo API. So in this case, in terms of our access token URL, this is just going to be our instance URL /auth /token, and then you will have your client ID and client secret, as well as your scope, in this case, that we would need to get. So the three fields that we see here, we will get from creating an application within your Halo instance. So if I head over to integrations, HaloITSM API, head to view applications, and I will create a new one which I can call Halo API. You can then select whether you're connecting with username and password, but in this case we need a client secret and client ID. I'll take a copy of the client ID and client secret, and then we can select which agent we want it to log in as when we are making changes via the API. So for now, I'll set it to my admin account. And then you have your scope of permissions. So whether we're going to be giving the API all permissions, which we would not recommend. In this case, if you're going to give it all standard, which is the same permissions that an agent would have, or an IT agent, or admin permissions, but you can also be granular in terms of exact permissions that you want to give. So do we only want it to give the permission to edit tickets or read tickets, just to read or edit calendar appointments, and so on. So for now, I'll just set it to admin and save. If I then head back to my custom integration, I will then just put down my client secret, and I'll take a copy of my client ID, and then the scope will be the level of permission that we've set. So in this case, I've set that to admin. And once we then save this, we will then have our custom integration and we can start creating our methods. So in terms of creating a method, we can give it a name. So I'll look at getting ticket data. So I'll just put down the name as get tickets. The integration will already be defaulted to the integration that we're looking at. We can see our base URL has been populated with the URL that we put into the custom integration. And what I will then do is just put this down as /tickets. So in this case, if I click on test, what it will then do is return back 50 tickets within the system currently. But let's specify we want to look at a specific ticket. I will then include that within my endpoint using the ticket ID. And once I test this, it will then provide me all of the details related to that ticket. But we wouldn't necessarily need the full response body. We might just want to focus on, let's say, the ticket summary that we need to extract from there, or the SLA fixed time, or the category. So the way that we can extract them is going to be through output variables. So if I head over to the output variables tab and click on add, let's say we're looking to extract the summary. I'll click on add, I'll put the name down of summary, and then we can select our data type, whether it will be an object, an array, string, an integer, and so on. But the main part is going to be within the values field. So in this case, we will have to start it off with response. And since the summary variable is not nested, or it's not within an array as an element, so I can then just put down summary, and then adding an exclamation mark in this case will remove the quotes around the extracted value. So if I now go ahead and test, in this case, I'll call it summary 2. If I then go ahead and test, it will then extract the summary of that ticket from the response body that we have. In the case of when it is, in this case, nested, such as the custom fields variable, so if we're looking to extract, let's say, the impact, so in this case, what we'll need to do is we'll need to capture the ID of that custom field, which is 165. I'll click on add. I will call this impact. And then within here, I will start off with a response. And then we would have custom field, since that's the variable that we're using. And I'll do this step by step. So if I go with the ID by itself, it should be custom fields, and then test that. It will then extract just that element within the array. But if we wanted to focus on pulling across, in this case, just the value 2 within the type variable in that element, we can then include that within here. So if I go back onto my output variable and then type in type and then test this, it will then return back a value of 2 as it's extracted it from that element within the custom fields array. So now that we've got our methods, if I head back over to the integration runbooks, and let's say we're creating a new integration runbook, we'll give the runbook a name in this case, and then, so I will call this test for now. We'll give it a name, select the instances that it's enabled on, and you'll then also have the option to choose the number of days that you would like to retain the logs of that runbook. So by default, it will be set to 30 days, but again, you can increase this or decrease it. You then also have the option to send a notification when the runbook fails, and then you will have the option to select how we would like to trigger the runbook. So in terms of triggering the runbook, you've got the option of triggering it within Halo or externally. If we're looking at triggering it within Halo, you'll have the option to trigger it from an action, an event, or from a workflow step. So if it's an action, it will be the system use of the action that we'll be triggering it from. If it's an event, in this case, we will have an events table within the runbook. So as an example, I can go with the event of new ticket logged and then add an additional criteria to say the ticket type must equal to incident as an example. So that just means for any new instance that are logged within the system, it will then trigger the runbook that we are building out now. And then within the workflow, it will be one of the automation options that you can go with. So you've got your quick action, and then you'll have the option to queue a runbook. Your runbook level variables work very similar to the output variables that you have. So you can kind of think of them as input variables if you have this being triggered externally from a third-party system, but they can also be used within your runbook when you want to, let's say, paginate a payload that you receive. So if you are paginating through pages, you can have the page number as a runbook level variable and add 1 each time. So essentially it allows you to do a few arithmetic operations to the value within that runbook level variable. You then also have the option to schedule the runbook. So if we want it to trigger every few hours as an example, we can set it up using the schedule option. So we can select the schedule type, whether we want it to give a start date, a repeat period, or if we want it to run on a selected days of the week. And once this is triggered, you will then have the runbook running on that schedule. Towards the bottom, you have the option to enable infinite loop detection. So in this case, if you have an array iteration that goes through within your runbook, which essentially creates a loop, you can essentially have it, instead of continuing on in the loop, we can have it go through a maximum of 5 times in this case before it then stops the runbook. Moving across to the flowchart of the runbook. So in this case, we can give the step a name, and then we can determine the type of step that we want to use. So whether it will be a condition. So a condition can be based off either one of the runbook level variables that you've created or a custom field that you've then grabbed from a ticket. So we can essentially split the flow within your runbook based on whether the condition has been met or it hasn't been met. The one that you'll most likely use for the majority of the runbook is going to be the action type. So with the action type, what you can do is you can use some of the methods that you've already created within your custom integration. You'll also have the option to create a new method, create a new integration that you would like to use, or edit an existing method that you've created within a system. You then also have the option to use a Halo API action. So this will be option to, let's say if we click on create a ticket, it will provide you with the minimum variables that you're required in order to create a ticket within the system. Again, you can edit this by adding additional variables if you wanted to include, let's say, populating an additional custom field and so on. You can also use it to update a ticket, create a new action, create an organization, edit an organization, and so on. And what we can see is when we are editing existing, let's say, tickets or assets or organizations, it's going to be using a variable, a dynamic variable. This variable here that we're using will, in this case, populate with the ticket ID that we're triggering the runbook from. If you have any runbook level variables, you can have them, the value within that variable updated based on the response of a specific method. And then you'll have the option to start an array iteration. So once you have an array as an output variable in a previous step, it will then appear in the drop-down list here, and then we can select whether we want the iteration method to go through each element one by one, or if we want to go through multiple elements at a time. And once we've started the array iteration, well, we can then add our steps, in this case of the API calls that we want to make, and then in this case to close off that loop, we'll then have our array iteration next and end, where we will then select the array that we want it to continue iterating through, closing off that loop. And in between, you can put your array iteration break option as well. The final option is going to be to run a SQL query on the Halo database, so similar to how you would write a SQL query on a report. In this case, the SQL query that you would write will return back the values in JSON format that you can then use to push information to either an external system or in a separate step. And then the final option is going to be a sort of sleep step. So it will just be a step, in this case, where the runbook will stop, and then it will retry once the duration has passed. So with this and what we've gone through in terms of custom integrations and runbooks, what we can essentially do is we'll have a look at some of the ones that we have out of the box. What we can do with this is, if we have a look at the one for sentiment analysis and KB creation, where we are essentially doing API calls to OpenAI in order to, in this case, evaluate emotion. You can then edit the body of that post that we're pushing across. So in this case, we can see this is the model that we're using within OpenAI. This will be the endpoint that we're calling on, and then the content in this case will be the prompt that we're passing along. So you'll have the ability to edit that prompt, whether you would like it to return the response in a certain format, or for it to take into account additional factors that can then be included within the prompt itself. And then the content here that we see here with the variable will just be the data that we are passing along with that prompt. So again, you can add additional variables if you want to increase the level of scope or the level of data that you're passing along, but that can then be included in here. And a similar approach will be used for KB creation. So when we're looking at creating the KB article resolution, it will have its own, we'll have the model that we would like to use, as well as the prompt that we're using and the data that we're passing along. Thank you for joining the Halosphere Masterclass on the session today. And if you guys have any queries or any questions on AI, please head to our community page.